Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Here we go. So, how's everybody doing tonight? This one's going to be a very good show, I think. It'll be very exciting as we go. My voice is going to be a little different. Something happened on the way to a middle school robotics, being a coach of that. It's been a wild ride yesterday. We won an event, which is a huge deal. It's out of 36 robots. We won the whole thing. The kids did so amazing. And it's neat to see that success. We were kind of the underdogs going into the last piece, and then we went nuts because we did not think we were going to beat those guys. And then we did. So it was really cool. So forgive me for my voice because I was screaming a lot at the end of that. So tonight's going to be very good, though. I think this will help a lot of the understanding of kind of getting into the flow of what the chiropractic lifestyle looks like, right? So, and that is, it's a big deal. Like when we're talking the philosophy that we talk on the 1% tribe all the time. What does it look like? You know, I keep saying those things. You know, the chiropractic philosophy, you know, what does that look like? You know, a lot of times you go, you know, you hear chiropractic, you're thinking back pain, headache, use it once in a while. There's so much more to it. And that's what I really, really want to dive into tonight. So without further ado, let's talk about the cool things I found. I got a really, really good one. This week, I found 4 different things. Well, kind of 3 different things, but one is a little more in detail. The first thing is kids are now, and we kind of assume this as we go, kids are becoming addicted to fast food. The problem with this is that maybe the food is, you know, better in some places. The addiction factor is starting to happen. And a lot of your kids with their gut health, and a lot of kids have different, you know, sensitivities and those kind of things. The ability of these fast foods to start addicting you is a major problem because most of these places use seed oils for what they do, you know, as, you know, as they're cooking their stuff. Seed oils, if you don't know, is one of the biggest health risks of the whole planet. It's going to be in the news a lot. I think we're going to go back to, you know, maybe the more people that are aware of it, the more, you know, we'll get away from that, like cooking in butter, cooking in these other ways to do it. I was watching a thing on this. McDonald's, when they first started, they actually used the actual cow fat, and then they would get it processed. And burgers back then were not a big deal. But then what happened to McDonald's is they were using that on a regular basis. Everybody wants us to call them the enemy, but we decided that that was going to be an issue. And so that, like, as that, it was going to be a cholesterol issue or whatever. Sorry, my big old corgi just went through that door, which made me laugh. All right. So as this seed oil problem happens, one of the biggest issues of these, and especially in kids, is they're finding it is a major in the liver problem. So I'm going to pause you guys real quick. I'm going to be right back. Stay right. Okay, sorry about that. That door kind of allows that there'll be a little bit less noise if we do that. So anyway, so with kids in the fast food aspect, they're really taking a toll on the liver, and you don't want to do that, especially with a child. So my recommendation would be just limit it. Try to limit it as best you can. I know, like, little kids it's a harder thing to limit. But it's a thing to think about if we're all going to start living this different lifestyle. Let's fix that, right? But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So McDonald's used to start with fat, like cow fat. That was what they would use to, deep fry everything. And then they got talked out of it when these vegetable oils came, because we said it was bad for us. And now it's completely reversed. Like the fat from a cow is much, much more prevalent in that aspect of things. So yeah, so that's the one. But remember that it affects the liver. This is a sad one for me, but it's what it is. Drinking beer alters your types of fat and cholesterol. So it will start to wreak havoc on your red blood cells. So drinking beer on a regular basis actually will change your blood structure to a place where there's different fats and allows other kinds of cholesterol to get out into the system, which then kind of screws up your red blood cells. So it makes it really, really hard. So, and it's more about they actually did this study on this, on non-alcoholic beer and alcoholic beer. Both of them had these major effects. So treat beer like you would anything else, as a treat once in a while, and you're going to be okay. The biggest thing is that beer drinking every night, to take the edge off, that could be a major problem. So just remember those. This one was the one I was super excited to find. So long-term antihistamine use can cause serious health problems. Okay. Blurred vision, heart problems, cognitive impairment. A lot of people do when they have the sinus problem, they are taking a ton of antihistamine issues. But what we found was there's some natural alternatives that I've been looking for a long time. There's a lot in herbal world and nutrition. It's a tough one when you're talking allergies, things that help, things that don't. But this was pretty good. So vitamin C is a really good antihistamine. It has really good antihistamine properties. So making sure that your vitamin C level is really, really high is a good thing, right? And they can also be found in 3 of the major vegetables are bell peppers, any kind of citrus, and broccoli. So those are your 3 major vegetables of the highest level of that vitamin C. There's a lot of good vitamin C out there. One thing I've heard before, if you're ever sick or something, you take one of those little bags of those little, I can't remember what they're called. They're little tiny mini oranges. Somebody in the chat, let me know what they're called. I can't remember. But those little mini oranges, if you do like half a bag or the whole bag when you're feeling sick, you will start feeling better the next day. It's pretty crazy how powerful vitamin C can be. So just remember that, because it has a good antihistamine quality, and one that is near and dear to my heart. When I found it before, it has such a good thing on your immune system. But quercetin, we've talked about here on before. It has some major anti-allergy properties, and it's found in a lot of things. Very similar to quinine, quercetin is found in apples, in berries, and onion skins, or you can buy it as a supplement, right? Very, very easy on your body, but it gives you that good antihistamine type quality and anti-allergy, which is really good. Okay. So now that I've said all of this stuff, let's start talking about the good stuff. All right. So tonight it's about common questions in chiropractic, but a little bit of a thing. I added a few questions everybody has, but I also said, what does it mean when Jeremy's talking about this chiropractic lifestyle thing? All right. So let's go. And Amy might come in. She might not. Just depends. Kid might be putting her down, might not. She might come in later, those kind of things. So let's start with the idea of what a chiropractic lifestyle is. So we believe in this holistic idea, this thing called innate intelligence. Innate intelligence is your body's ability. It literally has its own intelligence system within. And we're not talking about our mind intelligence, right? Our brain intelligence, our human intelligence. This is our body's intelligence. That's what innate intelligence is. So innate intelligence is your body's ability to do things that you don't have to know about, right? So you don't have to know to beat your heart, to take a breath, to have your immune cells go in a certain area because you scratched yourself. That is the innate intelligence. We are built based on this system underneath that is it's intelligent. Okay. So one of the things I like to say is this is a pretty good drawing of it. So you have your body's intelligence within the middle. You have its intelligence in movement, its intelligence in intuition, awareness. Think of a good example in a body intelligence awareness. A ball's flying at your head, and you get out of the way of the ball, but you didn't think about it. Integrating other body portions. We see this in when you eat food. As you're eating, you have this whole swallow complex. You go down through your body. Your gallbladder has to turn on. Your liver has to turn on. Your pancreas has to turn on. All these different things have to integrate together, right? Your sensitivity. We talk about this in flus. So like good example is if your immune system is on high alert and running really good, if you get by a flu bug or whatever, then your body easily fights that off. And so your sensitivity is good. If your immune system is low, it's not so good. Your body does not feel that bug coming, and therefore you get sick, right? And so you go through the healing, the coordination, you get the idea. Flexibility, balance. Okay. So all of those are different parts and pieces of what we call the innate intelligence of the human body. And it's going to come important as we go into this chiropractic lifestyle stuff. Okay. So understand that as we go. All right. How does this chiropractic lifestyle idea work? Okay. So the understanding of innate intelligence. Okay. So we'll start there. I'm going to read the definition of innate intelligence. So it kind of gives you a good flow there. Innate intelligence is the intelligence wired into you that governs every single act in your body, every single chemical reaction, every tissue formation, every bacterial invasion that is fought off is controlled and coordinated by this innate intelligence. Every living thing has an innate intelligence. So in every living thing, we have this intelligent design, this perfect symmetry of all these parts and pieces working together. And that's hugely important when we start understanding how to live our lives a little better. All right. So this is why I had to set it up all that. Don't I just go to a chiropractor when I have a problem? Like, what, man, I just got a headache. I'll go to the chiropractor. I just have a low back. I'll go to the chiropractor. Those are all well and good. And it's usually the foundation of how people discover chiropractic year in and year out, day in and day out. It's very, very good at what it does in a lot of different situations. But it not only does chiropractic help you feel better, what we want to do is to try to get you to be able to stay better. And as we go, the foundation of our talk tonight will be understanding how this situation and what you can do. Like a lot of people use chiropractic on a regular basis, but they're still hurting, right? And so the goal always as a chiropractor is I want you to come and understand how to take care of yourself in a sense where you don't have to wait till you're in pain, right? Because if we wait till you're in pain, it's kind of like the waiting till the engine of your the engine of your car is smoking. It's not exactly the time to do the maintenance on any of that in that car, right? So what happens is the people that understand this and they start understanding what chiropractic is on a regular basis, they begin to see that they actually literally can improve their human potential. Their cells change, their function changes. And that is the key to understanding like how health and longevity can happen with the chiropractic lifestyle. Hopefully that makes sense because I can blab about this all the time. Think about what we talk about with 1%. We talk about 1% improvement every single day. That's the entire concept of Sunday nights, right? Think about your body improving its cellular innate intelligence communication and working properly 1% every single day. That would be game changer situation. So just remember that as we go. Okay. Okay. So what else? Okay. So this is a good question. So hopefully you guys got to understand when we say chiropractic lifestyle, I want you to get adjusted on a basis that's not based on some kind of painful condition. If you worked out just because of you wanted to lose weight and then you just stopped working out after you lost the weight, or you gained the muscle you wanted, that wouldn't be getting you to where your cellular body would know the difference, right? So what we're trying to say is a regular chiropractic that you come in and actually are feeling it sometimes as best as you can. Like the best adjustments in my life that I've ever received are the ones where I'm like, hey, just check me. I want to see how I'm doing before I go on to this trip, right? Because I always would forget and then something would happen, like you'd have something. So when I got adjusted, when I'm feeling good, all you feel is this awesome change versus, waiting out this type of pain, like as we go. I know poor Rachel right now, she hurt her back. So we're adjusting her and it's not that fun. I know. Well, we'll talk about that, Brian. We'll get to that. So what we have to do is find out the why. That's the biggest thing. Brian asks, what's the deal with chronic tension headaches? And a lot of times the biggest thing that always happens is we have to figure out the why and get to that why moment. Or the other thing is like, the best way headaches are tough because there's a lot of part of your day that gets stymied by those. But are there times where there is no headache? And that's what we have to figure out. Like we have to go, okay, how do we get to a point where there's no actual pain there? And what does that look like? And then you can really discern like how you go forward, right? So chronic tension, pain, headaches, there's a why there, whether it be for chiropractic, it'd be a neck misalignment, Could be your low back even misaligning. You never know where the problem actually arises. I have a crazy dog behind me, so I apologize. It's kind of hilarious. They're like hanging out with dad tonight. I don't know. It's very good. Anyway, so a lot of times those are good questions though. With headaches, we have to keep searching and figure out why that is actually occurring. Okay. So what else should I add to my care if I make this change in my life? So not just regular chiropractic care can't be the only thing, right? Because I'm talking about your entire world, right? If I want you to do this in aches and pains of the back and the headaches and the neck and those kind of things, what else can you do? Regularly do muscle work, regularly do nutritional stuff, right? I love getting an evaluation by a chiropractor and getting all of it. Like what would you suggest? So now, like even at our office, you can do a nutritional workup, you can do a muscle workup. But when you're feeling healthy, when you're feeling healthy, you're going to get more out of each of those the times that you're gaining on muscle work or those kind of things each and every time. I apologize. Cracks me up. I'm sorry. I got that. My dog, it sounds like she is giant, but she's like maybe a foot and a half off the ground. So when you hear that big old dog, it's not one. All right. Improving function in general. One of the things chiropractic I love is you can come in with no back pain or headaches or anything, and your shoulders are way off, right? So how can you function that way and you'll be completely pain-free? Here's a crazy one. This is a crazy one that I think all of you will like. Did you know they did a study they took 20 people that had no back pain, none, zero, right? And they did an MRI on all 20. Did you know 18 of them had some kind of diagnosed on the MRI report disc herniation? Think about that. So how come that's true? The reason it's true because that disc herniation or that disc bulge is just a mechanical thing that you're able to adapt through. Now, is there a problem there? Yeah, there's a problem there. However, your body's ability to innately, intelligently design your body to not have pain in there is magnificent. So the amount of spines that I get at the office that are crazy town and they haven't hurt in 20 years is off the chart, right? And then the reason that happens is because of that innate intelligence. Now, if we were able to take care of that spine for that 20 years, would the spine be as bad? Would they have any of those, the different things like looking at their function? Maybe they don't have great function, right? Exercise is a good one. And then some mental work. So making sure that all aspects of our stuff. Hang on. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Sorry about that. It's been a little different than usual. I will make sure I feed them plenty of treats prior to going on here. Anyway, so that hopefully that makes sense. What should you add? So if I was feeling great, what are the things to do? Get adjusted on a regular basis. Get some muscle work done on a regular basis. Make sure your nutrition's good on a regular basis. Get evaluated for your function. Make sure everything's working right. And exercise, same thing. And do some, we ended on the mental aspect. So meditation, Psyche, something that we offer at the office. Anything that really, really can help you, get to that next level of really good. So hopefully that makes sense on that one. All right. So all right. Okay. So now we're going to talk about a couple hopefully you get what I was saying on the regular chiropractic stuff. This is crazy having a voice like this. But I screamed off. Oh man, you should have seen this little robot place going nuts. It was great. Okay. So, who can get chiropractic care? So, I like this question because we hear it all the time. Shockingly to me, people don't know this one yet. In the aspect, everyone. My favorite is I got to adjust my daughter when she was 2 hours old. She still has the record of being, we can check that little baby spine immediately as fast as we possibly can. The oldest patient I've ever had was 100. I think he got to 101. And all of them, it was such a great experience. Chiropractic wise, I'm a little spoiled that way. I've gotten to work on so many amazing people. My office manager just sent me one today. A 92-year-old man that was just absolutely amazing has passed away this weekend, and you just remember him. You just remember that you were able to work that. And that boy was a tough dude. He was no joke all the way. We'd adjust him on like the regular way, and we hadn't seen him in a few years, but he was a strong guy. But there's so many different techniques out there now that you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. The fear of chiropractic has really gone away, I think, other than the people that kind of freak themselves out, basically. I'm watching just certain, oh my God, YouTube and TikTok. Sometimes they're your friend because some people are real interested in chiropractic after they watch them, I guess. But most of the time, they are just panicking people. Like they have anxiety attacks about the various ways that they see chiropractic done when there's so many cool ways to not even hear noises or anything else. Okay. So just remember that, like, as one of the questions that I know people have. So that one always is interesting. Who can get chiropractic care? Anybody? How about the one that kills me is somebody is told by an MD or whatever to that, oh, you got bulging discs in your back. We can't see a chiropractor. That is like the opposite of what you want to hear. You really want to try if that's what your MRI is showing you, but they scare you out of that for some reason. Understand that you can do a lot of good, in various ways, and it doesn't have to be, it's not a violent procedure per se. So, so that's just the good questions as you go forward. So here's another one. Oh, I like this one. So this one's one of my favorites because you hear it all the time. What does the popping noise mean? Okay. So the best way to say this is every joint in your body has 4 layers. No. Well, I'll just walk through. Has several layers of protection so that bone does not touch bone. Because if bone actually touches bone, there is no joint there anymore. It will just, the innate intelligence of your body will just fuse that together. When people say bone on bone, they're really, they don't mean it. It's a good way to say it because it's really close, and I'll show you what that means. So you have 3 layers of protection in between every bone. So think of your knee for an instant. You have a layer of cartilage that sits on top of your knee. You have a layer of water or a joint, like a fluid that sits on top of that. And then you have a layer of air. Okay. So that layer of air, and it creates this nice, even space in between each joint. As we age, we start to lose the air first, and it kind of starts going into the water layer, and then it starts getting into the cartilage. When somebody tells you they're bone on bone, if there is motion in that joint, they mean that there's only probably the cartilage layer of the 3 kind of left. Okay. So that's what that is. The popping noise is kind of the air that's inside getting dissipated away. Now, in the younger person, when you hear that air immediately comes back in, and it kind of like creates that 3-layer effect again, right? So when you are a little older, you start losing the ability to have that air because the air is kind of drifted down because we're putting more pressure on all those joints. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's like poppy paper, but it's like poppy paper that like comes back to life anyway, if that makes sense. Because your innate intelligence wants 3 layers of protection between your bone, your joint, those 2 joint spaces. That's why it's super important to take care of all your joints. Your innate intelligence knows that it needs 3 layers. So just saying. All right. Okay. So here's another good question we hear all the time. Is it normal to feel sore after an adjustment? This is a very, very common. After an adjustment, you're literally changing the physical structure of the human body. So whether it's a lighter force technique or it's it doesn't really matter. So lighter force where you didn't feel as much, maybe it's a little bit, but if there's the cracky poppy noises, each one has a different thing, but you could be sore from all of it. And the reason is because your body's making change. Okay. The worst thing you can tell a chiropractor is nothing changed, because what we want to hear is that it improved or it got better. The pain, let's say we're talking a pain condition, it got better or it stayed the same. So we want to hear it got better or I got a little worse or sore, because then we know we're on it. Okay. If I say, hey, it's about the same as the first time you come in, then it starts our gears rolling. Okay, maybe this isn't the process or the problem area that we need to really, really dive into. Okay. So sore after an adjustment is actually a really good sign that your adjustment is working. It's holding. Is it always like that? Not every time, but 95% of the time, it means that a good change has happened. And now we have to see, because we're changing the function of your human body. Okay. So that's where the soreness comes. So it's very common for that. And some people kind of freak out. They want to feel good, and some people aren't ready for the chiropractic aspect of things because the medicines of our life have been so effective in just masking it and getting away from it that day. When somebody comes in with the expectation that they're going to feel like amazing because I adjust you, that's a tougher thing, because I'm using the innate intelligence of the body is going to make you feel better. And if the innate intelligence of the body decides that you need to feel worse for a minute, then it's going to do that. Like it's not going to mask it. It's not going to do those things, because there's some powerful, powerful meds out there that will just get rid of it today. And a lot of times I'll tell, I've had it before. I go, if you think that this is, like in my very severe ones, I will give them the recommendation. If we can get this done, the innate intelligence of the body will heal you. Okay. It will. I go, but it's to your toleration level. If you are so severe that you're hoping that you will be not very bad, tomorrow, then we might have to go get one of those big medications. Right. So sometimes we get lucky, and sometimes you can actually feel really, really good after, but that's not really the intention of the adjustment, is to make your body function better so that your innate intelligence of your body will heal you better. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little different. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. So can you feel sick after an adjustment or a massage or body work or a mental health thing? Why the heck would you feel sick? This is fascinating. I always love this one because it's an interesting thing, because it starts thinking that tells the people, oh crap, that's what it is. A lot of times when your body starts releasing, or when it starts working properly, if it hadn't worked properly before, it was gaining what I call, like, you would have these toxins that would come into your body and kind of stay there. Eating unhealthy, whatever, it would just keep these toxins. And so what happens is sometimes when we adjust you, and it will affect your immune system in a good way to activate it to normalize that immune system to be able to get us past this process, right? So all of a sudden your immune system's working right, and this flu bug's been in your body for 2 months. What happens? Right? So that all of a sudden the immune system's like, all right, sweet, I got to get rid of this flu bug. My favorite example of this is, let's say, I'll use Brian for example. Brian and I go to Taco Bell. So we go to, I shouldn't use a name like that. A restaurant. So Brian and I go to a restaurant, and we go in and we order food, and we get the exact same thing. And it has food poisoning somehow in it. So something bad, spoiled, whatever. So we eat it, and then we go home. In the comments, tell me this. Brian gets sick immediately, starts puking, all kinds of crazy. Jeremy, however, feels fine. Like nothing ever happened. Doesn't know why Brian's sick. We had the same meal. I don't know why. So which one of us is healthier? So I will wait in the chat. See who gets it right. Is Brian, who got sick right away, healthier? Or is Jeremy, who didn't get sick at all, healthier? Both of the meals had food poisoning in it. So you tell me. All right. So that's the in a nutshell, that's why, like a lot of times you might get sick or feel nauseous or something after, especially we see it a lot in massage work too. So massage has it happen to them quite often. They'll feel sick. That's one reason why water is a big thing, because you're trying to flush the toxins out of your body. Okay, so this is a great question. So this happens a lot. So how do I know if regular chiropractic care and doing all this stuff is working for me? Well, if I'm feeling good a lot of the times, how do I expect it to happen? How do I know? What's my litmus test for this working, right? And that's where I love getting tested, like physically tested. So either through an evaluation of like, how's your posture, maybe working out, those kind of things. In our office, we actually have a program now where we can start you with a series of like physical tests, blood work, a lot of different things in the beginning. You start your regular care, and then at the end, we reevaluate you to see how is it coming. Like how do you know if your bodies and your cells are working much, much better? So that is the thing. Give yourself a litmus test. Let's say you went in the gym and you could only get through 20 minutes of workout before some pain or, those kind of things. And then you start getting adjusted on the regular basis. How is that process doing now? How are your gains? How's your blood work? How's your overall day-to-day feeling? One of my favorites is I had a guy, chronic low back pain for years. You could physically see it. Every time he got up from a chair, he couldn't even move. And after, he really was feeling better, right? He was using his the function of his pain, like how he was feeling. He was getting better, but I kept noticing his function kept getting better. So I'm watching him get up and out of a chair, and he's like flying up and out of a chair after like 4 visits. So what was interesting is like, are you noticing you can do more at home? It's like, yeah, like I'm doing all the stuff in my garage I wanted to do for years. And I'm like, yes, I can see it in you as far as the function goes. But that's a very big deal. If you can get to that point of how do you know if the regular chiropractic is working for you? How long were you a sickly person every month? You're getting sick twice a month. Is that happening now? Right? So those are the big things. Sometimes I wish there was like a adjustment I can do for my throat after screaming. I am not kidding, ladies and gentlemen. I jumped out of the building when we want that. So one of these robotics things are very, very fun. So just let you know that. Okay. Is getting, we kind of went through this before, is getting chiropractic adjustment all I have to do. Some people believe once they get adjusted, I don't believe any of you think this, but since getting adjusted, I don't have to eat right. I had a chiropractor like this. I can drink as much as I want. I get adjusted tomorrow. That kind of situation, that's not exactly going to get you to where you want to be. Okay. Chiropractic adjustments allow that innate intelligence to work very well, but we can't interfere all the time, with doing that. So what I tell people is try to make sure you have the best life of getting rid of, toxins in your environment, traumas that could happen, right? Nice balanced exercise program, movement patterns, doing those kind of things. And the last one, try to stay in like clarity, clear thoughts, really good thoughts, trying to make sure those don't interfere with all the ways your body is functioning. So you have to do a lot. There's a lot to a chiropractic lifestyle. It's living this way, like what we've been talking about, living slowly, healthier and healthier. And the more you can be excited about that, the better off you can be. All right. Oh, this is one of my favorites because this is tough. So how do I know what a good regular schedule to get adjusted and do all these things is for me? Well, in our office, we do it much, much different. When people come and say, okay, what should I do? Like, I'm feeling amazing. What would be a good way to maintain? I said, there's two. There's maintain or perform better. Which one would you like? And I haven't said this to a lot of people in a long time, but well, if I want to maintain, there's a level, and then there's go beyond that, right? So you can pick whichever one you want. So let's say you want to maintain. So my way I tell people is when you maintain, what I would do is go without for a while. Your innate intelligence of your body, your self-awareness will begin to tell you when when it's time to get in again. So for some people, it'll be every week for a while, right? Until that innate intelligence starts to, go in that direction. For some people, just depends on their journey. Once every 6 weeks, once every 3 months. The biggest thing is finding what I call a patterning. Remember how we talk about subconscious programs? There is a physical patterning in your daily life that will lead you to injury or, those different thoughts, toxins, and traumas that will begin to get you later. Okay. So one of my favorite things to do is kind of experiment. So, like some people, I go, okay, we'll go one. All right, we got you feeling great. That's cool. Your lifestyle's pretty chill, pretty balanced as far as that goes. You're not throwing, hay bales every day. Let's move you to once a month. And then people will go, well, I started feeling it at 3 weeks. Okay. Then our pattern is going to be closer to that 3-week time frame for you. Right. So that's the fun part. I love when we start doing that with like anybody that comes in. Once we start setting up that patterning, then you can actually see it. What's crazy is Dr. Geimer years ago showed me this nuts thing. So a lot of times in chiropractic, we'll adjust a person. They're not really interested in the chiropractic lifestyle. They're just using it to get out of the pain, which is totally cool. It doesn't really matter. And we don't see them for a while. So maybe a year goes by and they haven't been in. What's crazy is I can literally take the data and show everybody every time. Almost every time, if they're like a person that waits until they're hurting, it's the same month. It's the same patterning every single year. It's crazy. The amount of people that I've had hurt themselves June of this year, get better after a few visits and take off and not come back. June the next year. It's ridiculous how accurate that is. So, but that tells you the innate intelligence of your body. That person picks and they have a lot of high stress in that June time frame. So hopefully you enjoyed this. This is a little more a little quicker one. I apologize for that. Because our all day situation yesterday was awesome. It was so much fun. to do the middle school robotics, but it's a long day event. And I was like, do I even do it tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I really like this. I like these conversations. So what I'd like to do, if you're listening to the replay later, that would be, like I would love to see some questions, as we go through, or some topics that we can discuss this winter. Cause I know it's going to be worth all of our time to kind of keep improving in our health. I just love it. So without that, I'm going to end tonight, and thank you all for putting up with my weird voice, and go Harper Creek Middle School Robotics Iron Dams. That's what we're called, guys. The Iron Dams. Have a great night.